In this section, I want to start talking about sharing files and folders. And for this, I need to talk about security features in Windows, and especially in Windows 10. That's necessary before understanding anything about sharing and security features in Windows. So perhaps this is the first time in this series that I am opening something to draw for you. This is the Paint program, and I am using a pen to draw everything for you and show you what I mean by sharing and security. Okay, assuming that this is, let me draw it in this color, assuming that this is your computer and perhaps other computers are present in your network, and you have a network that people connect to that. Perhaps this is the cable in between your computer and the other computers. Of course, this is a conceptual type of drawing. Actually, this is not the way a network is configured, but you can see that these computers are all connected to each other. Now, what I'm going to talk about is this. Perhaps in this network, you have some files or folders that other computers need to, see that, need to read it, need to, write to that. Perhaps this is a computer that holds a lot of, for example, proformas or a lot of, documents that other computers want to see. I mean the users of other computers want to see. First, this is the first users here. This is the second one. This is the third one. All of them connect to your computer to read this document. So one way is to stick your flash memory or cool disk into your computer, copy this over this cool disk, and give it to your colleagues. This is not an efficient way to work around. What if you have changes, and if you want to replicate the changes to other computers, you need to call all of them to come over and take the new file and take it. Perhaps they want to replicate the changes to your computer. This is not not an efficient way to use a cool disk or such thing to replicate the file between you. So we all establish a network. By establishing a network, we all can connect to each other's computer. And now I want to give access to this file or folder or a set of resources on my computer to other users that exist in my network. Now, the way that I do this is, I have two ways to do this. Or perhaps it's better to go a level higher and talk about this from a higher level. We can configure our network as a work group. So, what is a work group? A work group is a group of computers all connected to each other using common network, like this. For example, this is a work group. Nothing else happens. Every computer is an independent entity for itself. This is my computer, so my computer is, for example, computer 1. This is, for example, Bob's computer, computer 2. This is, Molly's computer, computer number 3. And this is Jen's computer, computer number 4. So all of them have their own entities. These computers are independent of each other. So it doesn't matter if you have some files in other computer, you cannot administer or manage the other computer. So we have what is called a disperse management. Okay? We have disperse management here. So any user manages his own computer, or perhaps a computer is shared by 2 or more users. They can just do whatever they want on their own computer. They cannot do it to another computer unless they are, given the permission. And I'm going to talk about these permissions in a minute. Okay? The next type of configuration is a domain configuration. This is what is called a centralized management. So a centralized management means one of these computers is the manager of the network. so it can affect the other computers. All computers adhere to the laws that this computer is publishing. So this is going to be a domain controller, or perhaps another computer in your network is a domain controller. What I mean is you can create a domain and add other computers to this domain, and this means join into a domain. Okay, now I do not have a domain here, and I'm not going to talk about domain. This is going to be another advanced topic that it lends itself to a lot of lectures. This is no place to talk about domain. But what we have here is a work group. Perhaps we can create our work group like this and manage our files and folders like what we do in Workgroup. So let me show you how you can create your work group and work with them. Let me delete this from my work group, and now let me talk about my work group. Here is my work group. On my work group I have some users. For example, every user has its own computer. I have Bob, I have Molly, I have Jen. I don't know if this is the correct spelling of Jen, and perhaps I am John. Okay, this is my computer, John's computer, and if I want to connect to this computer, if this computer is password protected, if this computer is password protected, I need to give a password. So this password and username together are called credentials. So I need to have credentials on this computer. So if I want to access this file, I need to present my credentials to Windows, and of course this is done only once when I am logging into my computer. But I need to present my username and password to this computer so that I can touch these files and folders. What if Bob wants to read this document? Bob needs to give the credentials to this computer too before reading this document. So this computer should have Bob's credentials stored in itself. What if Jen wants to read this document? Jen again needs to have its credentials on this computer. So when you have a computer that other users want to connect to this computer and read some documents or write to this computer, they need to have their usernames and passwords stored on this computer. So actually Bob's username and password is here, but Bob has its username and password on this computer as well, and the other one, for example, Molly and Jen as well. What if I want to reach a document on Bob's computer? So if I want to reach a document on Bob's computer, again I need to have my username and password on Bob's computer, so I need to be present there too. And if I want to read document here, I need to be present there too. So this is a very hard administration in my network. This is why we go for domains, but as I told you, this is no place to talk about domain. I'm going to show you how you can create usernames and passwords on your computer for other users in your network so that they can connect to your computer, and then they can reach these documents. So let me talk about this in next section.